Hello dear students, welcome to the third lecture of the processing of the data. At the first lecture we discussed what we mean by this editing of the data, and second lecture we discussed what we mean by the coding and the classification, and this third lecture we are going to discuss what we mean by the tabulation of the data and the graphical representation relating with the data. Okay, let us start. The first important element is the tabulation of the data. So degree classes we are familiar the word is a table. As a layman point of view, we are already familiar the term is a table. And what do you mean by this the table? A table means it's a combination of the rows and the columns. There is a rows and there is a columns for the presenting you the data. The term is known as your the table or the tabulation. And the research point of view, the one of the important element is your the tabulation. That means you are representing the each and every elements in the table relating with your study. So there is a given example regarding there is a relation between the age and sex, and there is a age, there is a different group 20, 30, 40, 50, and there is a classifying again the sex wise, that is the gender wise, the male and the female, and this is a total number of the age group. The 20 the age group of the 20, there is a 4 female and there is a 5 male, and the total is 9. Then and similarly 30 age group, 5 females and 9 males is 14, and 40 there is no female and there is a 4 males and total is 4, and there is a 50 age group, there is a 2 female and there is a 1 male and total is 13, and total number of the females is 11, total number of the male is 19, the total number of the age groups is 13. So this is a tabulation of that. This is an example regarding the tabulation of the data. That means you are explaining the each and every element, that's a variable. So your age and sex are the variables, and these variables are explained to the table, that is known as your the tabulation of the data. So there is a logical or systematic arrangement of the data. As a researcher is logically and systematically arranging the statistical data, the row wise and the column wise, that is known as your the tabulation. So there is a systematic arrangement of the male and the female and the age group. This is an example regarding your the tabulation of the data. Okay, that is the term is known as the table and the tabulation. Okay, and what different types of table? As the research point of view, the one of the important element is the different types of table. The researcher always think about what the different types of the tables are relating with your the research. And we are going to discuss what are different types of the tabulations. Okay, the tabulation of data can be classified in different ways, and what are different types of table or the tabulation. Okay, the first category of the tabulation is a symbol tabulation or the one way. The first category is a one way, and second category is a double way, that's a two way, and third one is a complex tabulation. And these are the three categories of table and tabulation relating with your the research. And first category is your the one way table. That means you are specifying only the one characteristics of data. That means you are only explain the age wise data or education wise data. That's only one characteristics. Your purely depends upon the only one single characteristics of the data. That term is known as your the one way table. For example, here there is tabulation of data on the population of the world classified by one characteristics like the religion. That is a focusing on the world population is classified on the one characteristics, that is only the religion. That is an example regarding the symbol tabulation. That means you are explaining the data based on the single characteristic. The term is known as your the symbol tabulation or the one way tabulation. And the second one, it's a double tabulation or the two way tabulation. That means you're classifying the data is based on two characteristics or the two variable, that is known as your the two-way tabulation or two-way tables. And for example, here the data on the population of the world classified by the two characteristics like the religion and the sex is an example regarding the double tabulation. That means you're explaining the data based on the religion and sex. There is a two variable, one is religion, another one is your the sex. The term is known as your two-way tabulation. And here the one way, there is only single characteristics, that is only the religion, the world population's characteristics based on the religion. And here there is similarly the world population is classified on the base religion wise and the sex wise. There is the two elements are used for the representing you the data. That is a two-way tabulation. That's the first category is one way, and another one is a two-way tabulation. And the Third one is the complex tabulation. What is the complex tabulation? That means more than two. Suppose your data is classified into more than two variable, that is known as your the complex tabulation. So the manifold tabulation sometimes is called the manifold tabulation. Okay, these are the different types of the tabulation relating with your the research. And first one is the one-way tabulation. That means your data is classified on the basis of the single variable, that is known as your the one-way classification on the one-way tabulation. And the double-way tabulation, that means the data is classified on the basis of the two table. That means it's a cross classified table. That's two variable, one is a religion and otherwise sex. That is an example. There's two variable or two characteristics, that is known as your the double-way tabulation. And third one is your the complex tabulation. That means data is classified on the basis of the more than the two variable, that is known as the complex. That many characteristics, you are representing the many characteristics, that is known as your the complex table. These are different types of the tabulations are relating with your the research. Okay, and what are the objectives of the tabulation? The researchers are always focusing on the tabulation of the data. I'm discussing what are the important objectives of the tabulation of data. And let us discuss the objectives of the tabulation. The first important objective is the simplify the complex data. The tabulation is always simplifying the complex data. For example, and there is a table regarding the age and sex. Suppose these variables are systematically representing in the table. Suppose orally or writtenly speaking, or writtenly, meaning it's very complex. So your tables are overcoming all the limitations of your the oral representation and the written representation. So these tables are easily understood, it's always clear. So this is the first important objective of the tabulation is to simplify the complex data. The data can be bulk information can be reduced with the help of the proper table. So that is one of the important objective, that is simplifying the complex data. And second one is to bring out the essential features of the data. And this is one of the another important objective of the tabulation is to bring out the essential features of the data. That means the clearly, the precisely presenting the information. The tables are always presenting the information the clear and the precisely without the textual explanation. That means there is only figure wise data can be seen. There is no textual information, is always figure wise. So it's one of the important objectives to bring out the essential features of the data. The second important objective, that means you're presenting the facts clearly and precisely without the textual explanation. That is second important objective of the tabulation. A third one is the facilitated comparisons. Can easily compare each and every elements with help of the table. The row wise data is available and column wise data is available. Can easily compare each and every elements, and cross wise comparison is always possible with help of the tabulation. So that is the third important objective is the facilitating the comparisons. So gender wise comparison is possible with help of the tabulation. Age wise comparison is possible. The different types of the comparisons are done with help of the tabulation. The third important objective is the facilitating the comparisons. And the fourth one is facilitate the statistical analysis. The tabulation is always facilitating the statistical analysis because it's a cross classified table. The chi-score is easily calculated with help of the cross classified data, and cross tab is always helpful to find out the correlation, the chi-score analysis. So that is one of the important objective is the facilitate the statistical analysis. That means can easily identify the average, dispersion, correlation and other center tendency with help of the statistical data and also tabulated data. So there is a fourth important objective is facilitate the statistical analysis. That is one of the important objective of your the tabulation. The last one is the saving of space, because this is not a textual element. It is a figure-wise explanation. Can be easily saved a lot of the space whenever you write the thesis, can easily save a lot of space. So it's one of the important objectives. The table representing the fact is better than the textual form. So it saves the space without sacrificing the quality and the quantity of the data. It's one of the important objectives. That means it's always save the space without sacrificing the quality and the quantity of the data. Okay, these are the important objectives of the tabulation. And first one is simplifying the complex data, and second one is bring out the essential features of the data, and third one is to facilitate the comparison, and fourth one is facilitate statistical analysis, and fifth one is the saving of the space. These are the important objectives of your the tabulation. Okay, let us discuss what are the major elements or the major parts of the table. So we are familiar with the different parts of the table, and we are discussing the different parts of the table. Okay, we are familiar with the table. There is a title, there is a subtitle, there is a table header, stub, then stub head and column label, and the table of the body, the table footer, source note and footnote. These are the essential parts of the good table. Suppose whenever construct a good table, these are the essential parts. There is a table, this table have the title, and there is a subtitle. Sometimes there is a table header, then stub head, then the stubs, and there is a column head, and there is captions. This may be captions, and these are the steps. There's row heads. These are the row heads, and another one is a table body, the body of the table, and the table footnote is footer. There's source note, and the footnotes are available in case of the table. So these are the major elements of the table, and we're discussing the one by one, which are the most important elements of the table. Okay, the first important element is the title. The title is the most important element, the precious element in the table, because can easily identify the nature of the table with help of the title. So the proper title is essential for the good table. So there is heading written in the caption, show the top of the table. This always shown on the top of the table. The term is known as the title. The title is a lighter on the table. It is a lighter on the table, and bold parts and the heading and separated by the columns. So the first important element or the parts of the table, that's the title. Without the title, we cannot easily identify the table, which category of the table is related. So the first important element is the title. And second one is the box head. The box head means it is the column captions. So there is the column captions. So listen, here there is a column captions. There is a lot of the column captions are available. So these are the column captions. This column captions, that is known as the box set. There is a vertical heading and subheading of the columns is called the column caption. So here there is a vertical elements regarding the each and every element. So there is a column caption. There is a relating with the column. There is a column captions. One of the important elements is a box set, that's column captions. The stub means row. The stub is row wise arrangement. Can see the row wise arrangement. This row wise arrangement. The term is known as the row captions. This is the column caption and this row caption. So the column caption is known as the box set, and the row caption is the stub. There is a stub and the captions. There is one of the important element is the table. And another one is the body. The body of the table. It's a very important element. Is the body of the table. Table body is a very important element. So the table body is the main part of the table, which contain the numerical informations classified with respect to the rows and the columns. And you can see a lot of the information regarding the rows and the columns. And this is known as the body. There is a body of the table. Okay. And another one is a prefatory note. Prefatory note means the measurement. Suppose you're using the weight, the expressed in terms of kilogram. Suppose your height is measured in terms of centimeter. Can be easily verified with help of the information. Can be quoted. It is the kilograms or the centimeter. That's one of the important elements. There's a prefatory notes. And another one is a footnote. The footnote is always appear in the below of the table. At the below position, we can see there is a footnote. The footnote is another important information which leads to the table. So that is maybe the additional explanation of the data. That is one of the important elements is the footnote. And there is a source note, the source of your table. Suppose you take the data from the Reserve Bank of India. That's the RBI bulletin is one of the important sources. So we can easily quote the sources. So here there is a sources. The source is one of the important part of the table. Okay, these are the important parts of the table. One is a title, another one is a box head, that stubs, body, the prefatory notes, the footnote, the source notes, all of the important parts of the table. Okay. And what are the general rules for the tabulation? Suppose you are construct a table, then what important rules regarding the tabulation? First important rule is the table always simple and attractive. Suppose you're constructing a table, it must be simple and attractive. There is no need for the further explanation, because you can suppose whenever we can see the table can easily understandable. So otherwise it does not mean. So that means a table should be the simple and the attractive. There is no need for the further explanation. That's one of the important rule regarding your the tabulation. And second one is the proper and clear headings. That means row heading and column headings are essential for your the tables. There is a proper heading, there's the columns and the captions, stubs are essential for your the table. And there is suitable approximations. That means figures is rounded off. Then suppose figures and express in terms of 1000, or there is a lakhs, so we easily round off. So it's another important element is the figures always round off. Other one is your the measurement unit is clearly explained. Suppose you're in centimeter, you can go to the cm. Suppose in express in the kilogram, there's a kg is the part representing the kilogram. So that's the appropriate measurement. Height is expressed in terms of the meters or centimeter. Can count the meter wise or centimeter wise. That is one of the important elements, the unit of the measurement. And another one is if the observations are large number, they can be broken into the three tables. Suppose your table is too much length, can be broken into the 2 or 3 tables. So observation of the large number, they can be broken into the 2 or 3 parts. That's one of the important rules. Suppose the lengthy tables can be reduced and can be subdivided in 2 parts. So that's one of the important element. The last one is thick line should be used to separate the data, and this understanding the big clauses. Suppose thick line is very important element. And nowadays we are using the APS style format. We can explain the concept in the next classes. We are using the APS style format. That means always cutting the horizontal line. There is no vertical lines for the category of the APS styling. This only represent the horizontal lines. So as suppose you are following the APS styling, the horizontal lines are essential for your the table. There is no vertical lines. So these are the essential rules for the tabulation. And once again, a table should be as simple and attractive, and proper clearing and heading columns are essential. That's rows wise information, column wise information, and suitable approximations are figures to be rounded off, and unit of measurement. The large number can be split into 3 or more tables, and thick line should be used for the separate data. The big classes and the lines should be separately. That means you are using the APS style, that's horizontal lines only. Okay, and these are the important rules for your the tabulation. Okay, and after the tabulation, the next topic is the graphical representation. It's a very easy topic because we are already familiar with different types of the graph. That means suppose you are coding, editing, and the classifying and tabulating. The next important stage is your the graphical representation. And what do you mean by this graphical representation? That means you are presenting you the data in the graphs. That is known as the graphical representation. Graphical representation means it's analyzing the numerical data. That means identify the relation between the informations and the concepts. So that we are expressing these entire elements through the diagram. That is known as the graphical representation of the data. So most important element at the researcher's point of view, the researchers always try to code out the graph for identifying the each and every activity. It always depends upon the types of the information. So that is the diagrammatic representation of your the data, that is known as your the graphical representation. So and we just look at this diagram, we can see the lot of the graphs like charts, the histogram, you have the dot plot, you have the circle graph, you have the relative frequency histograms. These are the histogram. This is relative with the stem and leaf arrangement. There's a bar graph. There's a lot of the lot of graphical representation for the data. These are the example regarding the types of your the graph. Okay, and these are the term is always known as the graphical representation. That means you're presenting the entire information through the diagram. So the graph is known as your the graphical representation. Okay, what are the different types of graph? You're already familiar with different types of graph. There is a line graph, there is a bar graph, there is histogram, the line plot. Then previous diagram, you can see the line graph or the graph and the histograms. And the first important element is the line graph. The line graph means used to display the continuous data. It is a displaying the continuous data, and is very useful for the future references and future periods. So you can just caught the entire information in the line wise, and you be connected to the data for the future wise information. So for the predicting the future, the line graph is mainly for the prediction of the future. That's the first category of the graph is known as the line graph. The line graph used to display the continuous data, and it is very useful for the future. And another one is a bar graph. That is the another important element is the bar graph. That is it's another part of the diagram representation. There is a bar graph. Okay, this is a bar graph example. So the bar graph means it's used to display the category data. That means categorical variable, age and education is a categorical variable, and comparing this type of the data is a very important element. Suppose it's very used to display the category of the data, and it comparing the data using the solid bars. That means you're using the solid bars. These are the solid bars. That is known as the bar graph. And another one is histogram. The histogram is another important method for the graphical representation that represent in the frequency of the numerical data. So there is a histograms, and there is a frequency here. Explain this frequency. That's another relative frequency histograms. The histogram is always representing the frequency of the numerical data. Okay, that term is known as the histogram. That's always connecting with the bar graph. And another one is the line plot. The line plot is another important element. There is a dot plot. That is the line plot is known as the line plot. That's another important representation of the data. That is the line plot. There's a line graph. There's a bar graph, histogram, line plot. These are the different types of the graphs are used in the graphical representation. The line graph is mainly for the future, predicting the future situation. The bar graph is also used for the categorical data, and histogram that use the bar to representing the frequency of the number of the data, and organized in the interval because there is a gap. Suppose histogram can see the gap wise, so there is a chance for the gap. So there is organized in the interval, and that's a line plot. These are the important types of the graph. And another category is a frequency table. The table, the frequency table is another important wise graphical representation. That means there is a very important element, show the piecewise data. That is known as the given interval. That's a frequency table. Another one is circle graph. That is a pie diagrams are the part of the circle graph. The circle pie graph, that means you represent the circle wise arrangement of the data, 360-degree measurement. The circle considered with 100% of the category of the data. So also known as pie charts, and shown the relation between the entire information. That is a circle graph. And another one is a stem and leaf plot. There is a stem and leaf plot here. There is a stem and leaf plot display. This is one of another category of the graphical representation. The data are organized from the least value to the greatest value. And here can see the data is the least value to the greatest value. Suppose this is the data and arranging the least value to the greatest value. That is one of the least values to the greatest value. So that category of the diagram is known as the stem and leaf plot, and this the data is organized from the least value to the greatest value. And the digital of these least place values from the leaves of the next place, and the value of digits from the stems. This term is known as the stem and the leaf plot. And the last one is the box plot. So statistical point, a very important category of the diagram is a box plot. The box plot diagram is summarizing the data divided into 4 parts. Suppose the stock marketing operation, we can see this box plot. There is a day wise open, and then day wise high, the day wise low, and closing period can be expressed in terms of the box plot. So there is one of the important element is the box and the whisker plot. This whisker show the range. The range and the range of the center trend is the mean, median, mode can be easily identified with category of the data. And these are the other category of the graphs. So there is a frequency table, there is circle graph, stem and leaf plot, and box and whisker plot. This is another category of the graph. And they're generally using the frequency distribution. These are the generally using the frequency distribution. That means all this histogram, then smooth frequency graph, then pie diagram, then there is a cumulative and archives, the frequency polygon, and the pictograms. So this is an example regarding the pie diagram. That means you just explain each and every element through the circle wise information. This pie diagram, this 360-degree pie diagram can be divided into different parts and can be easily identify the contribution of the different elements. So that is term is known as a pie diagram. And these are ogives. There is a more than ogives and the less than ogives. It's a more than ogive, and there is a less than ogive. This central point is known as the central tendency, mean, median, mode. There is ogives, an example regarding the ogives. And this is a part of the pictogram. Suppose there is a diagrams. We can use diagram for explain the each and every element. That's a part of your the pictogram. This and another one is your the frequency polygons. So it's a frequency curves. That means suppose you draw the bar diagram, identify the central point, and you're connecting this central point, and this curve is known as your the frequency curve, and this is your the histograms. It's a part of your the histogram. It's a connecting with the bar diagram. There is a regular interval. There is a fixed gap. That is known as your the histogram. And this is your the frequency polygon. It's a frequency curve, and this is your the frequency polygon. That means the straight line curve. This is connecting the scale and draw the straight line. That is known as your the frequency, the polygon. This is a frequency curve. These are the and generally used the frequency distribution. One is a pie diagrams. It's a constructing the data in the circle wise format. That is a pie diagram. And there is ogives. The ogives, one of the important, the more than ogives and the less than ogive. The midpoint is known as the central tendency. Median, mode can be explained as the central tendency at the central point. There is a more than ogive and there is a less than ogive. And this is a pictogram. This is representing the pictogram. The pictures are used for representing the data. That is known as the pictograms. And this is your the frequency curves. And using the bar diagram, there is a midpoint is a part of your the frequency curves. And this is your the histogram, and this is a frequency polygon. These are generally using the frequency distribution for the graphical representation of the data. Okay. And after that, what are the general rules for the graphic representation? Suppose you draw the diagrams or the graph. What are the basic rules regarding the graphical representation of your the data? The first important element is suitable title. Like your the table, the diagram is necessary for the suitable title. The title representing the which indicating the other presentation. So subject of your the presentation. So this is one of the important element of the graphical representation is a suitable title, and make sure that the appropriate title is given to the graph. Suppose your graph is related to the age of the respondent, so call the heading there is the age of the respondent. And another one is a measurement unit. Suppose the pie diagram, you explain the entire element 360 degree. So measurement, you mention the measurement unit, centimeter wise or the meter wise or the kilogram. Your unit is very important element for the graphical representation. And there's a proper scaling. There's to representing the data in the accurate number. So that is known as the proper scaling. Choose a proper scaling. That means representing the data on the accurate panel. Scaling is essential for the good graphs. And another one is indexing. The indexing means like the coloring, your shade, your line, designing. That's a part of your index. Can easily cut the colors and shade, and can be easily add the colors and shades, lines for your tracking your the graphs, known as your index. Another one is a data source. Suppose you are taking the diagram from the any other sources, just cut the sources and include the source information and wherever it is necessary for the bottom of the graph. That means showed on the bottom side of the graph. That is the data sources, and it just keep it simple. Suppose you are construct a graph based on symbol wise, can be easily understood by the general audience. So construct a graph in a easy way that everyone can understand. That is another important element is keep it simple and neat. Choose a correct size, lettering, colors, and etc. The neat means take the correct size, and lettering, your coloring is one of the part of your the graph. So these are the neatness, and these are the central rule for the representation of your the data. So once again, the first one is a suitable title, and there is a measurement, there is a proper scaling, index, data source, and keep it simple and neat. And finally, what are the merits of the graph? Suppose you are constructing the graph in your the thesis, your the project, and what are the advantages of this graph? The first advantage is the graphs are very easily understandable. Can easily understand to the common man or the layman point of view. That's one of the important elements of the graph. So look at the graph, can easily identify there's an increasing, there's a decreasing. So there is one of the important advantages, easy to understand. And second one is a save times. That means there is not textual elements, you only the diagrams. It saves a lot of times for reading of the material. The second one, it saves the time. And third one is it's allowed to relate to the comparisons. The diagram is very helpful for the comparison. Suppose 2019 there is an increase, in 2020 there is a decreasing. So easily compare each and every element. And another one is used for the statistical elements. There's a measure in the center tendency like the mean, median, mode. It can be easily identified with the help of the data, because ogives, one of the important element is here there is a ogives. Suppose looking at the ogives, there is a more than ogive and the less than, or the central point is your the center tendency, mean, median, mode is a part of the center line. So can easily identify the mean, median, mode with the help of the data. These are the advantages of the graph. The one is easily understand, save the time, and relate to the comparison and statistical analysis possible with the help of the data. Okay, let me conclude. The first we discuss what he mean by the term is the tabulation. The tabulation is one of the important element of the data analysis, and tabulation means you are presenting your the data in the row wise and the column wise information. That is known as the tabulation. There is an example regarding the tabulation, and what he mean by different types of the tabulation. There is a one way, there is a two way, that's complex tabulation. These are different types of the tabulation. These are the objectives of the tabulation. These are what are the major elements of the table. That's the title, the box head, the captions, rows, body, prefatory note, footnote, source note. These are the important elements of the table. And these are general rules regarding the tabulation. And this is a graphic. This is a very important element. This is a graphic representation of the data. That's you're presenting the data in the tabular format. That is known as the graphic representation. And these are different types of the graphs, and line graph, bar graph, histogram, line plot, frequency, circle graph, steam and leaf plot, and box and whisker plot. These are the important category of your the graphs. And these are the generally frequency distribution. There's a histogram, there's a pie diagrams, ogives, and pictograms, and the frequency polygon and frequency curve. These are the important generally using the frequency distribution. These are general rule for constructing the graph. There is suitable title, measurement, proper scaling, index, data source, keep it simple, neat. These rules. These are the advantages of the using of the graph. Suppose if the right advantage is very clear and easy to understand and save a lot of times. Okay, these are the advantages of the using of the graph. Okay, the next classes we discuss the very important element of the SPS and R software, because almost all sites are completed. The next classes we will discuss the applicability of the SPSS. That means how to construct tables, rows, and diagrams with help of the SPSS, and also apply in the R software. The next video is related with the SPSS and the R software. Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for watching me.